Hey, this is Tim Stewart, Coach Papa. I'm going to share a couple of things with you in light of Independence Day, 4th of July, right around the corner. Take the time to celebrate, but take the time to remember what the purpose of the day is. I'm going to start out. Kelly Strong wrote this in 1981 as a high school senior, and it's the words have just really spoken. It's called "Freedom is Not Free." I watched a flag pass by one day. It fluttered in the breeze. A young Marine saluted it, and then he stood at ease. I thought, how many men like him had fallen through the years? How many died on foreign soil? How many mothers' tears? How many pilots' planes shot down? How many died at sea? How many foxholes became soldiers' graves? No, freedom is not free. I heard the sound of taps one night when everything was still. I listened to the bugler play, then felt a sudden chill. I wondered just how many times that taps had meant amen as a flag had draped the coffin of a brother or a friend. I thought of all the mothers, of the children and the wives, of the husbands, sons, and brothers with interrupted lives. I thought about a graveyard at the bottom of the sea, of the unmarked graves in Arlington. No, freedom is not free. You know, they could have picked any date. July 4th happened to be the day they got together and put together the Declaration of Independence and made it official. The actual signing and everything else came a little bit later. Johnny Cash wrote this one in, I think, 1979. I walked through a county courthouse square. On a park bench, an old man was sitting there. I said, your old courthouse is kind of run down. He said, nah, it'll do for our little town. I said, yeah, flagpoles leaned a little bit, and that's a ragged old flag you have hanging on it. He said, have a seat. So I sat down. Is this the first time you've been to our little town? I said, I think it is. He said, I don't like to brag, but we're kind of proud of that ragged old flag. You see, it got a little hole in that flag there when Washington took it across the Delaware, and it got powder burned the night Francis Scott Key sat watching it, writing, oh, say, can you see? Got a bad rip down in New Orleans with Packingham and Jackson tugging at the seams, and she almost fell at the Alamo beside the Texas flag, but she waved on through. She got cut by a sword at Chancellorsville. She got cut again at Shiloh Hill. There was Robert E. Lee, Beauregard, and Bragg, and the South wind blew hard on that ragged old flag. Flanders Field in World War I, she got a big hole from a Bertha gun. She turned blood red in World War II. She hung limp and low before that was through. She was in Korea and Vietnam. She went where she was sent by her Uncle Sam. She waved over our ships upon the briny foam, and now they've about quit waving her back here at home. In her own good land, she's been abused, she's been burned, dishonored, denied, and refused, and the government for which she stands is scandalized throughout the land. She's getting threadbare and wearing thin, but she's in good shape for the shape she's in, because she's been through the fire before, and I believe she can take a whole lot more. So we raise her up every morning, take her down every night. We don't let her touch the ground, and we fold her up right. And second thought, I do like to brag, because I'm mighty proud of that ragged old flag. I am mighty proud of that ragged old flag, and that's why I choose to pledge my allegiance to the flag of these United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, for all. For every human being who has ever set foot on the soil of the United States of America, that flag represents liberty and justice for all. But more than that, it represents the hundreds of thousands of Americans, even millions, who gave their life, their limb, their liberty, their sanity to make this and keep this the greatest nation on the face of the earth. Now, I'm proud to have been born in the great state of Nebraska. I'm proud to have lived in Georgia, Colorado, Nebraska, Texas, and over half my life right here in the land of Lincoln. But beyond all of that, so far beyond all of that, if all the things were gone, I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. Well, I'd thank my lucky stars to be living here today, because that flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I am proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men and women who gave that right to me, and I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, because ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Nebraska, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, from New York to LA, there is pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I am proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men and women who gave that right to me, and I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. Well, there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless each and every one of us sitting here today. Now, one final poem. This one was written by me, Tim Stewart, Coach Papa, shortly after 9/11. It says, the king was overtaxing his subjects far away. Things were really getting ugly until that fateful day when the colonists dressed as Indians descended upon the ships and tossed the tea into the sea as a cry rose from their lips. You can no longer overtax us. We have no more to give. So take your laws and leave our land. We choose to govern where we live. Things had gotten bad before, but this time was a first that saw America at its best when things were at its worst. And it started a tradition, a way of life, so to say, that has affected all Americans from then until today. Every time we get complacent and start bickering among ourselves, someone comes and tries to break us, to cast our paradise into hell. But every time they do it, they find out like the rest. It's when things are at their worst that America is at its best. Now, this latest interruption that is known as 9/11, as they toppled the Twin Towers and sent thousands into heaven, is just one more reminder to those beyond our shore that we can be your greatest friend, or you can be no more. So take this as a warning. Those who would put us to the test, if you want to try to break us, you will find America and Americans at their best. God bless. Obviously, that second part of the Ragged Old Flag was a spoken version of God Bless USA, written by Lee Greenwood. I'm Coach Papa. I wrote the last poem. I believe in this country, and I believe we still are the greatest nation on the face of the earth. God bless. Travel safe. Now get off the bench and get back in the game. If you want to hear a little bit more about what we do, I'm on a show called Two Bald Guys and a Microphone. You can find us on 21.6 The Net. You can put the app on your phone. You can put it on your computer. You can go right to our website, http://216thenet.com. Make it a great day. Be blessed.